Hello and welcome and welcome and hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me on this extremely special edition. It doesn't get any more special than this, guys. It's hump day. It's Wednesday. It's a red day. It's a huge turd. It's actually not special at all. This is a show that probably should never be made. There's really no point, but thought I'd jump on with you guys just because there's a hell of a lot going on with the market. Really was SoFi. It was like right down the middle. Basically a red day. They were only down 3%. I say 3-4% because usually previously on a red day, so they churn a lot of volume and the stock would just get cut off at the knees. But it's a different stock because institutions are buying in. They're still shorting it, actually. There was really no covering today, which was kind of interesting. But the short volume ratio has only been in the 30s here of late. So, things are looking, I think, just about the same. It wasn't really, a very eventful day for SoFi. It's kind of basically, SoFi is so reactive in a way. It's reacting to interest rates. It's reacting to what's good for banks. It's reacting to other fintech stocks. It's reacting to tech stocks. It's reacting to meme stocks. It's in so many different categories that basically if you want to go after the stock and hit the stock, you can always paint it with one brush or another because some sector, some event, some macro is always looking slightly negative for SoFi. You could have sort of four factors, four catalysts that are positive and one that's negative. But if the media wants to run with that one, really good interview if you have a chance to look at it. That Tanner did with Touchdown Danny Dolev from Mizuho, who I've always said for a long time is probably the most intelligent, most thoughtful analyst in terms of how they cover SoFi. He really does a lot of research into the company, talks to management, digs into the unknowns and the questions, and sort of, I think, goes a little bit more in depth than any of the other analysts that cover the stock. So that was a really good talk Tanner did. So if you have a chance to watch that, I would highly recommend it. Of course, the young Tanner over at Future Investing, you can find him in Canada. Take a bus north across the border and ask for Tanner. They will take you directly to his home, where he will sell you his course as well as a timeshare and many other things. But welcome and hello, guys. Hello and welcome. It's Un Poco Moss. Let me share my screen here so you don't have to look at my giant head this whole time. Oh my goodness. Is my head getting bigger by the day? Hello and welcome. Thanks to the wonderful Princess J, I do not have to drink tap water here at the house because she actually has bottled water on hand like a civilized human being. Anyway, we've got Savage of Wall Street, of course. First in line, Savage. What's going on, Savage? We got Mustang Rider. How's it going, Mustang Rider? Not making any money right now on SoFi, buddy. Hope you have my guest suite warm in that mansion of yours down in Nashville. Gonna need ya. Long, cold winter for us SoFi stockholders. Now, we'll see how it goes. What's up, Matt Flo? Hello and welcome and hello. Another Skinamax episode. Yes, Mustang Rider. This is about PG-13, as good as it gets. I'm going to leave my Stock Karen shirt on. What's up, Vladdy Z? Good evening. How you doing? What's up, Lisa? How's it going? Javier. Hola. Bienvenidos y hola. Buenas noches, Javier. Roll those R's. Give me a tilde. What's up? Here we go. The Chia Pet is crazy. I don't know. Did the Chia Pet have a note? What's funny about the Chia Pet is he always stays at like $3 or $4, but his actual EPS estimates are really in line with the other analysts. Like, I think it was 9 or 10 cents this year, so he's pretty much in line. But covered calls. Where are you guys writing these things? See, that's what I can never figure out because, like, obviously 750 you got rolled up. But I think you guys are longer term. Not a Lurker was trying to explain to me, what you guys are rolling with. But I don't know. I can't keep track of everybody because everybody plays options just a little bit different. But as long as you're making money, that's what's important. So in any case, who else is here? Lisa, Hot Wing Mike is here. Giving everybody explosive diarrhea. Let's see, it's Toto, it's Mustang Rider, late night episodes. You got to go to bed, you got to go to bed, man. You can always watch the returd. Jimmy is here. Good evening. Can't wait for tomorrow, see what happens in the market. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because, a lot of people are surprised Nvidia sold off, but I mean, they had a really good report, but it was pretty much in line, I think, with expectations, and the valuation is such that they have to execute almost superhuman levels for, you know, next 6 years or so till this valuation kind of starts to make sense. I mean, Microsoft is a company that's sort of been building the foundation for decades and decades and decades. And yes, Nvidia is making a ton of money right now, growing rapidly with huge margins. But this AI infrastructure build out, number one, is not going to last forever. And number two, other companies are going to catch up. Nobody's just going to leave these types of margins to one company. It's, they didn't invent some type of new, fission or something. It's a chip. And I believe others will catch up. Intel's having a lot of issues right now, but AMD is on the warpath. The Chinese are working hard to catch up. There's just other companies that make chips. I don't know. I just don't believe Nvidia is going to be this dominant company, 10 trillion market cap. I don't see it. I just think it's more or less a commodity, and I don't think there's anything, superhuman about Nvidia. It's a great investment. Maybe I'm just bitter because I missed the run. That's certainly a possibility. But anyway, guys, SoFi on the day, so, not super interesting, down 28 cents, hovering at that 750 mark, and then down another 8 cents, it looks like, after hours to $7.41. It really like that 737 level for a while. Remember that CCR song kept coming into my mind because it was closing like 737 and just kept hugging that level. So I don't know why, but it really seems to like that area. But yeah, the max pain actually jumped up from 7 to 750 overnight. People buying a lot of calls at 8 and a lot of puts at 750. So doesn't look like they want to drive the stock down too much, up too much. Looking like they're going to want it to close somewhere like 760. I don't know, 765. Will be sort of true max pain, because obviously max pain on all these sites, they're rounding off to the nearest 50 cents, but it's actually much more fluid. So you can calculate it down to the penny if you're more smarter than me and you have a slide rule or an abacus handy. Anyway, guys, what do you think about the Affirm earnings? What do you think about the Nvidia earnings? That's kind of what I wanted to touch on. Obviously, Affirm just going bonkers, up 15% after hours. It's down 93 cents. So obviously, I don't think anyone was expecting this sort of blowout beat. Top line, bottom line, and more importantly, guidance. I mean, Affirms, basically what they've come out and said to the market is, hey, we're going to be making profits soon. Like, it's not going to be forever. A lot of people were looking at the trajectory were saying, hey, Affirm probably won't make a profit for at least a year and a half. But they're looking to make a profit over the next couple of quarters, and they're making a lot of money. It's basically, if you look at their business, they make a lot of money off the fees they get from these transactions. So Affirm, I think, is less risky and a much better valuation here than Upstart. I still like SoFi more at this level, but it's a very impressive print for Affirm, and I was not expecting it. It's a home run. I mean, this is what the market wants to see, are these big surprises. I mean, they had them earning, this is a big sandbag because, I mean, they were 43-cent loss last quarter, which was a massive beat. I mean, the beats they're setting up are huge. It's every single quarter. So, I mean, these guys sandbag more than that, Sissy Spacek movie where the river's flooding and she's like sleeping with the neighbor or something. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, guys, welcome and hello. Who's here? Michael Anthony. I can be your hero, baby. I think that's Mark Anthony or somebody. What's Savage got? 788 is kryptonite for SoFi. It just gets SoFi. We'll see. Yeah, no, 788. I don't know, 788. I have 793 as resistance, so yeah, pretty close. I don't think 788 is really a big number, but I think it just has a lot more to do with people buying a ton of calls at 8 or just opening up a ton of positions. I think a lot of it's hedging, but I don't know. I don't see 788 as a key resistance point, but perhaps you're right. I don't know. What do you think's going to drive it back under 7? I'm just not seeing it. Just not seeing it. Like, I don't think the shorts want to go any deeper than 18, and the only way they've been driving the price down is borrowing, and now the cost to borrow is actually going up, which it's still very, very minimal. They can still certainly borrow shares, but shares were getting quite a bit more scarce. There's still one broker, I think, paying people to short SoFi, but I don't know. I don't know. People, I think, are fairly comfortable shorting from 8. I mean, anywhere Kathy Wood's buying, people are going to short the stock. Maybe 788. I think far less people, because they were shorting last time that 680 to 720 level. And it didn't work out that well. They weren't able to really turn it too much in the low 6s, but I don't know. It's hard to say. It's just going to sell. I don't know on what basis it's going to sell off, because things are looking pretty good for SoFi in that the economy is doing well, inflation's coming down, so you're going to have massive demand on both counts. You're going to have a strong economy, people working, people looking to borrow, people looking to buy homes while interest rates come down. So it looks like they might not have to create that recession, but it's yet to be determined, if the Fed acted soon enough, pumped the brakes soon enough, if they cut too far, if they, kept interest rates too high, too long. It doesn't look like it. The economy is so resilient. There's so much pent-up economic activity, demand left, I think, from the pandemic. Just businesses are looking to expand, looking to change, implement new technology. And people are talking about how's the economy going to keep growing. I mean, it's going to keep growing the same way America always has kept going. It's going to become smarter, more efficient. We're going to have new ideas. A lot of it's going to be based upon AI, but a lot of it's also going to be based on automation, robotics. It's a lot more than just Tesla. There's many, many companies working on just a lot of new fields. And if you talk about fintech, I mean, again, I'd encourage people to listen to the Derek White interview. I think it was 40 or 50 minutes, where he talked about the below the glass, above the glass, in the air, his vision for banking. And read this guy's bio. I mean, I'm looking at areas where I think SoFi has been underestimated. And this Affirm print, if you look at their gain on sale, sort of compare year on year, and then you look at SoFi's massive loan book of extremely high qualified borrowers, I think they're going to mark those loans up considerably. I think those loans are worth more than people think. I don't think the loan book is falling apart at all. I mean, LaPointe told us defaults peaked early in the year and they keep coming down. And last time he spoke on it, CLP3 spoke on the matter, he said that trend was continuing as far as what they saw into Q3. So we're going to see SoFi at the Goldman Sachs conference, and Goldman Sachs increased their price targets all the way through 2026, come in line with SoFi's estimates. They went to 56 cents, where the lower end of SoFi's range for 2026 was 55. Old school guys would tell you maybe that's a nod to management to bring your estimate just 1 cent in line, because SoFi's estimate, I think, was 55 cents to 85 cents or something like that. So it's a 30-cent range. So for his old cohorts at Goldman to come in at 56, I think it's a little bit of a nod to management. It could just be a complete coincidence. Who knows? Maybe I'm just reaching for rainbows or whatever it is. But hello and welcome. Welcome and hello. Hope everybody's doing good. Let's see. Who else is here? Hey, you got Affirm. I honestly don't have Affirm. Thankfully, I did not have the balls to short it, but I just didn't think their print... Supreme Court definitely said no again to the student loan forgiveness. That came out today. That's considered a positive piece of news, but it really has no effect whatsoever on SoFi because none of those were SoFi customers. Those are federal student loans. SoFi is a private lender. But good. I'm happy for you, Drek. I'm glad you made some money there on Affirm. Let's see. I don't think it's going to hold like a 15% gain, but we'll have to see. Maybe it will. It's got a fair short on it, and the market just overreacts. But they're still losing a little bit of money, but it's a lot less than people thought. So it's an excellent earnings report. The growth was outstanding at the top line. Let's see. I knew to sell Michael Anthony Tuesday's high, sell off again, which is what it does. Maybe not short, but more traders and investors. I mean, it's still just kind of at the level it was pre-ER. So ER, it went up to 780, all the way down to 720, all the way back to 780, all the way back to 750. So, I mean, it's this, yes, you're right. It's just the same machinations, the same type of price action SoFi runs over and over and over again. But SoFi also tends to break out and run 80 or 100%. So none of us know when that's going to happen. Only probably a few guys at BlackRock and perhaps I would say Goldman Sachs and a few other people know exactly when that's going to happen. And I, unfortunately, am not one of those people, as I'm not a billionaire. You keep saying I don't see SoFi going under 7. I just don't see it. It keeps going under 7. I keep being right. It keeps getting to bother me. I don't know, man. But weren't you selling calls in the low 6s? Like, you're right when you're right, but I mean, it was just at 620, so I don't know. It never broke 8, but yeah, obviously it just went under 7, so I saw it go under 7. But I'm just trying to figure out why you think it's going under 7 now. I don't know. I'm trying to read all you guys' comments, but this monitor is very small. Yeah, no, of course it can go under 7. It can also go over 8. It can also trade in the 7s. It's going to do what it does. I mean, Max Payne, which it's been sticking pretty close to, said it's going to stay right at 750. But yesterday, Max Payne said it was going to stay at 7. So obviously, the professional options traders have stepped it up from 7 to 750. Could it still go back under 7 this week? Sure. Could it go under 7 next week? Sure. I mean, options aren't showing me that, and the shorts aren't digging in deeper right now. They're actually returning a ton of shares if you kind of look at it. So that's all. I'm not seeing it flowing that way, but of course it could go under 7. I mean, go under 5. Go wherever. I don't know where it's going to go. Follow the bouncing ball. You just have to watch where it goes and then act accordingly. It could do whatever it does. These stocks are crazy. I think it was Midwest Values who made just a video about the volatility. The volatility is insane. I mean, like I said, just low 6s for no reason, high 7s for no reason, back to mid 7s. Nothing's changed. I mean, none of the estimates or nothing's happened really. We got confirmation of interest rate cuts, obviously sent the stock up. A lot of people thought it would send the stock up higher, but I mean, again, options traders, market makers, they're in charge of the stock. It's not like sentiment. It's not news stories. It's not any of these things. It's cash. That's why if you look at like Max Payne, guys, sort of break it down, it's not just a number. It's like, okay, you can look at these charts and you can say, okay, volume is coming in, tons and tons of puts, 16,000 contracts at 750. And then you have, 13,000 calls at 8. So this is not telling me this is going to go higher or lower, like down below 7 or up above 8. That's just, I don't know. I don't see it. That's why I'm saying I just don't see it. But of course, if you're talking about like longer term, yeah, it definitely could go higher or lower. We don't know. But remember, guys, maximum pain, this represents money. Like this represents money that would be left on the table if the price is above or below max pain. So this is not theoretical. These are real traders, real people, whether they be retail traders like Savage of Wall Street or Birdie, or whether they be professional traders, professional shorts. Mostly the shorts are also short long because that's the way you make the most money, is playing both sides of everything, make money wherever things go. But there's a ton of money on the line. And that's what people are like, why all the volatility with SoFi? Well, the reason is because that's how market makers make money, off of volatility. I mean, of course, they can make money just selling options and letting the stock be flat, but that's not really fast enough for them. They like a lot more action than that. They like to pick your pocket a lot faster than that. So that's what they're very, very good at. But as far as, let's see. As far as the live short interest, not much going on the day. It was basically flat just all day. One thing of note is cost to borrow max up to 8%. Cost to borrow average was positive. Min was not negative, but still tons of shares available. No short squeeze, no gamma squeeze. It's just not in the cards, guys. People love to make videos about it, but it's just not going to happen. I mean, you could see some buying pressure if shorts start to cover, but it's not going to be like one of these dramatic squeezes like company that shorted 40%. Because it's just not going to be that type of squeeze. You can just look at the numbers, and utilization still only 52%, cost to borrow below 1. I mean, you do not see a stock squeeze with a cost to borrow at like almost 0. Just doesn't happen. A lot of people, a lot of U-turners want to talk about it because it gets a lot of clicks, but I don't think it's even remotely close to short squeeze territory here. I mean, everything's a matter of degree. You know, you could say it's a short squeeze, it went up 10%, which is possible. But most people think about short squeeze as something very, very dramatic. You know, where a stock is going up, 30, 40%. Or like Carvana. Carvana is one. God, I'm glad I didn't short that. What a moron. I think I shorted a bit from like 140 or something. But God, I never even thought the stock was going to go much above 20. It just shows what you know. I mean, fundamentally, I still think it's a terrible company. But, here it sits, like what, 150? I mean, when Wall Street wants to take a stock up, they take it up. When they want to take it down, they can take it down. So all I can do is, flap my gums, try to make money where I can, try to get in where I fit in, try to make $1 out of 15 cents. So what else can we talk about? As far as Nvidia, why did the thing sell off 7%? Is it because Jeremy dyed his hair a certain color and, just looked dead behind the eyes? I don't know. Like he's saying, okay, I called it 4 to 7%. Like 4 to 7% move. Okay, you called it. Like, let's see, because I think it's going to sell off more tomorrow. I just don't think this company's worth $3 trillion yet. You have to tell me that you have to show these earnings are going to continue to grow and these margins are going to continue to be there for years and years and years. And most people just don't think that, most experts. There's sort of this one line of chips they have this dominance in. There's already companies working on next generation beyond this. Of course, they are as well. They're talking about their new chips, rolling out, ramping up, rolling out in Q4. So I think Nvidia is going to continue to do very, very well. They're going to continue to grow. But this wasn't the kind of spike I think people saw last quarter where it was more shocking. But it was a stellar ER. And the fact that the stock sold off, why I say that bodes well for large and small caps, is the same reason I think Warren Buffett selling Apple bodes well for small and mid caps, is that just it's a question of valuation. I mean, small and mid caps valued the lowest they've been in, I think, probably 20 years plus in this, sort of mega cycle. Because I know if you sort of blend everything together, these small and mid cap indexes and such, they're usually trading 13, 14, 15 times sales, and they've been trading like 9 and 10 times sales. And that's because money is expensive, and that's because, the smaller companies run on credit. They have far less options when it comes to financing their operations. Financing growth. What do small and mid caps, but especially small caps, what are they trying to do? They're trying to grow. And what does it take to grow? It takes money. And so if money is expensive, you're screwed. But when money all of a sudden gets less expensive, boom, you're going to see that big rotation back into mid caps, back into the Russell 2000. You're seeing it already. It bodes very, very well for SoFi. So I think the Nvidia sell-off as well as the Affirm spike both bode very, very well for SoFi, especially if you go inside Affirm's ER. Their profits are sort of transactional in nature, their revenue increase. SoFi's doing a ton of churn as well. Their bank account, their debit cards, I think they're really, really going to ramp the credit card business, and I think they're going to figure that one out. I think they're like a babe in the woods. Like Donnie. You have any frame of reference here, Donnie? No, you're like a child who comes in the middle of a movie. Like, SoFi kind of came into this thing. They're like, okay, credit cards. Ooh, it's a tiny business. Obviously, they didn't really know what they were doing. They were hemorrhaging money. Believe me, they're going to get that together. And that's going to be a profitable business. But I don't think it's going to be like, Robinhood, where they just give away the store. That's not the point. I mean, Tanner did an interesting video about interest rates and how SoFi had already reduced their interest rates on their savings from 4.6 to 4.5, and others were still paying as high as 5.2. But watch what happens next. SoFi, with their 4.5, is going to grow deposits more than their competitors paying 5.2. Because SoFi offers so much more than just a small increase or decrease in the interest rate. A 1/10 of a point decrease in the savings rate is not going to send customers running for the doors. Not going to send customers running for the hills. It's just not. And Noto knows it. And knowing is half the battle. At least half the battle. Anyway, guys, I am the Sharp Master, as you know. I need a fresh pair of shorts at the end of every broadcast. When I look at these charts, it's absolutely crazy. Princess J goes through a gallon of bleach every other day. It's horrible. No, guys, I kid. I'm actually, I'm actually very sanitary for a portly gentleman. But anyway, I shower 6 or 7 times a day. Let's see. So what's happening here? The bottom line is, I mean, just to be extremely simple and graphical and stupidical, we broke through this line, and the stock is trying to find support above the line. And it looks like it is. But we have to see what happens tomorrow. Everybody thinks Nvidia selling off is going to just drag the market down. I completely disagree. That money has to go somewhere. Where is it going to go? It's going to go into these midcaps where the multiples make so much sense. Because they're about to have affordable capital again. They've been starved of affordable capital. They've been starved of affordable capital. Think about it. They're about to get affordable capital once again. And of course, SoFi, I got to quiet it down a little bit. Got to take it down 1,000, guys. Got to remember it is DJ Patchy Drizzle on the wheels of steel, the ones and twos. This chart tells me if the stock can find support here, because like basically what's going on here, guys. You always see this big red candle and then a huge gap down. Big red candle, huge gap down. Big red candle, huge gap down. Where do I think we are? I think we're right here, right here. In fact, we're right at this same level. So I think we're going way up. Savage thinks we're going way down. It's like a yo-yo. Hey, boo-boo. Watch me pull a SoFi share out of my hat. Give me my picnic basket. Is it going to gap way down? Is it going to go way up? I personally think we're going to go through 793. Savage had it 788, which, you know, these levels, of course, are not exact science. So pretty much in agreement on that sticky resistance point. But I think if it can go through there, I think we're looking at $10.11 in relatively short order. Of course, if it's rejected, yeah, it could push it back down below 7, certainly. And then we have to see, are we going to find support here, which would be sort of, 670 area. But it's been pushing up from here, which would put us, 716. So it's been finding support on this horizontal line, as opposed, aside from this sort of dip here, which I think, again, was a manufacturer anomaly. Shorts really pushed this thing down. I don't think there was any big reason for that sell-off. SoFi specific, anyway. But again, SoFi is extremely hyper-reactive to everything. Macro, Jerome Powell scratches his ass. SoFi goes down 10 points. Anthony Noto, some of the people on the internet think he's on a weight loss drug. I don't think so. I think it's just the stress. I think the guy stresses out 24/7 about this company. And about, frankly, not necessarily about shareholders, but just about his own future, about his own legacy, about putting everything on the line, about putting all his available cash into open market buys. About whether he should do a scissor cut on the side or go up with a clipper. About whether he trusts his barber to that degree with a comb. About how much his haircuts actually cost. I'm going to say $775 for a men's cut, which is excessive, but I think us shareholders probably bear that cost. I think his windbreaker budget is probably 6 figures. And again, no 3XL windbreaker for old Danny Deals. Nothing in the mail. Nothing in the mail, Papa Noto. Anyway, you guys, what do you think about the chart? What the hell do you think's going on? No new ratings, no new articles, really interestingly enough. Like I said, short volume ratios, not too interesting. No new big insider buys, no new huge filings or anything as far as that goes. What's interesting here, J&J, these guys are actually got a big short on the stock, JNL Series Trust, JNL Mellon. I don't know if that's New York Mellon Bank or Thornton Mellon, the tall and fat stores. What it is, who it is, what it is, who it does, who it be, all that stuff. Reminds me of Florence Henderson. Excuse me, stewardess, I speak jive. If you're a fan of the Airplanes series, you'll know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so there's increases, there's decreases. Interesting one here. Vanguard Institutional Stock Market Index Fund. Again, 10% increase. That was sort of across the board with Vanguard, so you're going to see all their filings kind of go in that direction. Increases, decreases, but all the new positions are green. Vanguard Total Stock Market Index Fund, again, 10% up. They have 30 million shares in that particular fund, worth $200 million. So across the board, Vanguard's going up 10%, but they don't know anything, right? They don't know anything. Stock's going down. Vanguard says up, Savage says down. Let's flip a coin. Anyway, guys, now in the short term, of course, even in the midterm, who knows? I don't. All I know is I think it's going to go up in the long term. So 2026, I think they're going to hit like $1 a share EPS. Maybe I'm crazy, but maybe I'm not. Maybe I am and they do it anyway. Who knows? So that's really all I had for you guys. I know there really wasn't much to say in the first place. Let's say hello to anybody else who's here. The problem is correction, rally. Yeah, I mean, Michael, yeah, if they only make another penny, of course. Yeah, it's not going to... if they're saying 4 cents and they make 1 cent this time, it's going to be carnage. I mean, the market's going to hate 1 cent. I mean, they're going to sell off big time. Savage wants it under 7. He's going to probably get it under 6 if we see that. Probably see a 25% dip. Yeah, because that would be a huge miss. So, yeah. I don't know if that's what you meant. Sorry, I can't read everything, guys. You guys are having 10 other conversations. I'm looking at this blurry little child's monitor through my bleary old eyes. This market is so overbought. I almost sold assets high as I know the charts. The market is overbought. A lot of the tech stocks, some of the bank stocks, maybe. I don't know. It's just looking at SoFi's multiple with 22% top line growth this year. I think it should be 25% at least next year. And they're trading at like 3x this year's sales. And you think that's overbought? I don't know. Have to disagree with you. I think like 5 times would be quite reasonable, but let's see. I will try to go to the SoFi Goldman Sachs Communacopia here in San Francisco. Yeah, that'd be awesome, man. If you could do that. I'd love to ask him a question too, but I'm too lazy to go to San Francisco for that. Actually, that would be kind of fun, actually, if I could. I don't think you can go in person, though. Let's see. All the data last 2 months has been bad. For SoFi or for the economy or... See, bad data is good because it, encourages a half-point rate cut, and that makes SoFi explode. So, I don't know. You can make a bearish argument, whatever the data says, but you could make, I think, a much more compelling bullish argument, whatever the data says. I mean, a quarter point, SoFi is going to be fine. A half point, SoFi is going to be golden. So, I don't know. You have to cite what specific data you're talking about. I buy shares when it goes under 6. I don't sell cover calls. I sell cover calls when SoFi runs. And stupid people. But how do you know always when it's going to run? That's the big question. I also sell $8 and $9 cover calls. Buy low, sell high. Yeah, I mean, my average is in the low 5s. I don't know what your average is. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you guys, if you sell options, you're going to be right like 80% of the time usually. Just depends like how aggressive you are. Could be more, could be less, could be like 75, could be 85. You're going to be wrong some of the time too, and that's okay. It's not a, personal deficiency. It's just sometimes a stock will run up. You had it at 6 1/4 and it just runs up to 780 for no reason. It went down for no reason. It goes up for no reason. It's extreme volatility, but as long as you're giving yourself, enough time, you're going to be fine. That's the yo-yo thing. If you're in weeklies, you can get in trouble buying or selling because it's just, the stock swings so far. It swings 15-20% often up and down just for no particular reason. So makes it a little tricky, but you got to be on top of your game. You got to be on top of things. I think SoFi will hold the $6 levels. Yeah, I mean, it did last time. You just have to wait and see. I mean, they slammed it down hard, but it was on low volume, Michael. That's a little bit curious because usually when the algo gets churning and they really want to rip the stock down, they'll just churn it up to 60, 80 million shares and they'll just churn the thing down. So options writers are in charge of the stock. Well, they're savage. Again, it's to a point, but I mean, again, Goldman can slam the door and be on the other side and trade calls. I mean, it happens. Trust me. Like, guys, I've documented how this stock moves. At one point, 120% in 1 month, 80% in 1 month. You might think you know exactly when that's going to happen, but you don't because they don't do it right in the ER. So if you get caught in one of those rips, I mean, the worst thing that happens is you get called away. Or if you act fast, maybe you can make moves, but I don't know. This stock likes to rip. If you think you can predict, by all means. Right. Statistics say that's how you make the most money. Nvidia could fall below $90. I mean, I think it should be. I think $2 trillion is generous, Michael. But I mean, Mr. Market loves Nvidia, so Mr. Market loves the term AI. SoFi doesn't say AI, so that's right, Danny. It's much better to make a living hitting singles. Yeah, I mean, it's much better just to make money all the time. That's what I try to do. I mean, I can't do that all the time, but I try to. Try to be very sensible, very conservative. Should make any losses I take tiny, gains big. So, yeah, I tend to make money every year, but there's been years I've lost money, but it's just, it's ups and downs. But overall, if you make money, that's the important thing. Tesla was at 23% short. Maflow, but Tesla is a unique stock. Yes, you're right. Tesla, I don't know. Tesla was much higher than 23%, I believe, at one point. I think it was 30%. I could be wrong. Got some Carvana puts last week. Yeah, I did the exact same thing. I think I said 140, 145. Tried to average down. Yeah, I got them. I got the same treatment there on Carvana Savage. Nvidia goes to 90. Yeah, I mean, I'll buy Nvidia at 90. I mean, just because I think the market will take it back up. Not that I think it's worth more than that, but if you want to trade it, they know better than giving it all away like fools. Heirloom Cedars here late but present. You do a great Walter. Vladimir Ulyanov. Where is Nautilurker? I think he's asleep. The great Nautilurker had an emotional day today. I won't go into it, but, we appreciate him. He's probably all tuckered out, and we wish the great Nautilurker J Money well, and we thank him for his production even when he is seep. It gets support at 10. There's nothing stopping us. Yeah, I think, Lisa, the key number there is going to be like $10.11, $10.13, and then we just have to see. I think it can touch 10, but then they'll push down real hard. So, and like Savage is saying, we got to get through that 7. What I'm saying is 793. He had 788 level on it. So that's the first step. I think that's going to happen any second. Doesn't look like they're going to push much past 8 this week, if at all, just because there's just too many calls for this Friday. John Blanjovi. I mean, John Blanjovi, that's 4x almost in 3 years. That's very, very, very rare inside of the stock market. Like stocks like Microsoft and Amazon, they went flat for 10 years. And then they went up very, very rapidly. SoFi hasn't even existed for 10 years. It was up for a couple years, only been down 2.5 years. Which I know for you impatient, refresh. What are my stocks doing? You idiots like myself who are constantly looking at movements, constantly looking at dailies, constantly, buying and selling options, just doing, squirrel stuff. And yeah, we make money on it, but you have to look at it long term. I mean, 4x in 3 years? Do I think it's very, very possible, because I think the stock should be 13-ish now. So if the fair value has been depressed artificially, I'm only looking for an increase in the fair value around 2x. Okay, in 2 years, which is still a lot. But 4x is almost sort of pie in the sky. So is it possible? Yes. Is it likely? No. I know it's runnings. The stock goes up. Genius. Stock goes up 60 in 2 days. No shit. I'm going to sell cover calls. Let the stock tell me what to do. Nobody knows what will happen. Yeah, but I mean, of course, yeah. If the stock goes way up, you're going to sell cover calls. But a lot of people are selling cover calls all the time. So they're getting hurt by these runs, Savage. I know not you. It's so funny. You guys know so much about the markets. I know huge move in the tech platform, all that's going to move the needle. Well, yeah, it depends. Like, this Affirm thing was just a huge beat, Charles. So if you see something extremely dramatic, it'll happen. But like Savage is saying, the option sellers are the market makers. They're one and the same. They're the shorts. They're making money wherever the stock goes, whatever the stock does. It's the same people or the guys down the hall making money. Selling options, shorting the stock. They could be buying options if it suits their interest, or they're hedging, or whatever the case may be. They're doing 10 different things at all times, making money from returners. So it's not all as straightforward. I mean, why were there a ton of shares on loan? Then now the shares on loan, the shares borrowed are exactly the same thing. Cost to borrow going nowhere. Why do some brokers pay people to short SoFi? They want the stock here now. Other people are going to want the stock 14 in not too long, probably next year. Will it get there? Who knows? I don't know. But a lot of these other fintechs, a lot of the other sort of meme stocks, a lot of the other sort of young tech stocks, the growth stocks, they've made big runs. SoFi has done anything but that. Do I think it's a bad company? No. But I think market makers have made a lot of money selling these options, shorting the stock, and they have to see a compelling reason to break the back of that short. They're making too much money doing it. So what's going to be compelling? Like 6 cents EPS, that would be very nice. That would be a nice beat. Can Noto dial that up? I don't know. I don't think demand is going to be that strong in the third quarter. That's why I was saying you have to have something compelling coming out of the tech side. I don't know if we're going to see that for sure. I don't know if we're not. Let's see. Yeah, Charles, I disagree with you in the sense that Noto kept the EPS down by choice. They could have just absolutely made a ton of personal loans in Q1 and Q2. Just increase that year on year. Put risk on. This company is conservative, and I like that, but it's very good for option sellers because it's predictable. Yes, you do see the yo-yo volatility. You do see the 60 cent, 80 cent swings, but those dollar moves, those 80% moves, those 120% moves, those are rare. And market makers plan those very, very carefully, much like they plan like the New Year's Massacre with KBW very, very carefully. Again, not saying it's coordinated or illegal, it's just free speech. But it is what it is, guys. We have to see, what is the chart telling us? Doesn't really matter because the volume is pretty insignificant right now. So this sort of, right at 30 million. So if you want to see, is it going to go up or down from this level? Doesn't look like it wants to really trade sideways here. The volatility is just not saying this thing wants to trade sideways. So is it going to gap down again? You usually see a bigger red candle when it wants to gap down. Might find support at this line. It might not. I mean, this looked like it was trying to find support at this line. Big gap down. This found resistance at the line, then gap down anyway. Resistance at the line, then gap down anyway. So history is telling us the thing might want to gap down. But the trajectory, the put call ratio institutionally is becoming much, much more bullish all year. So options traders, the longer term options guys, are telling us that, the stock can actually go up. I don't know what chart that's on, but so it's like the option calls, the institutional calls are at a record on SoFi. Institutional puts are still high, but they're actually just finally dipped down a bit below the calls. But that's longer term traders like that they're measuring there. That's not like these idiot retail who are buying these weekly calls. So just giving their money away basically. Because like market makers aren't going to see, whatever it is, 20,000 call contracts and then just let the stock run over 8 for no reason. There's no compelling catalyst. So it would just be bulls pushing it up versus options traders trying to push it down. They don't want to fight each other. They'll let retail, take that kick in the nuts this week on those calls, and then they'll push it up another week while they agree with their options traders not to fight them that week. They're just, the market makers don't want to take money from each other. They want to take money from us. So keep that in mind, guys. Anyway, it's all very sort of logical if you kind of look at it. Like retail investors get impatient, they buy ill-advised options, they just hand their money to market makers. So market makers are going to continue to take that money until SoFi gives them a very, very compelling reason that can't be ignored to push the stock up. At least that's what's going to happen in my opinion. I think the stock's going to go up. Now, could it go back down below 7? Sure. The options aren't telling us it's going to do that this week or next week, but anything can change, anything can happen. Obviously, Jerome Powell can piss in everyone's Wheaties anytime that he wants. So that guy has a hell of a lot of power. That guy probably has more power over the markets than just about anybody. I mean, Jamie Dimon, some other people, when they talk, people listen, but obviously the Fed controls the game, The Fed controls interest rates, which are obviously critical to the entire market, the entire economy, everything like that. So, guys, I appreciate everybody watching. Savage for all his comments. Blonde Jovi is here. Ross is here. Air Force is here, calling us all turds. Stuff to watch is here. SoFi will rip next month. That's what we think, stuff to watch. I say that every month, so I don't know. As long as they want the stock at 45, they want the stock at 45 in 2026, but I don't know. That's more than a 6x, Charles. I don't see it. I don't see the stock anywhere near 45 in 2026. Unless tech just goes insane. They start landing big banks, like fish, I don't see that. I don't see 45. I mean, I'm trying to get my head around 28. So 45 is a whole nother leap of faith. A willing suspension of disbelief. Maybe we should sandbag even harder. I don't know. Yeah, I don't really like that game, but it certainly works to spike the stock in the short term. So maybe Noto is, I have 20K in the sixes. Very nice average, John Blonjovi. Well done. $8 soon. Savage of Wall Street. This is when you sell covered calls. You stay ahead of the stock price, my friends. Your average is 7. Sell 8s and 9s. Your average... I don't really believe in that selling based upon your average. Like, I hear a lot of people say that, and I see a lot of that on YouTube, but I guess if your goal is to, I don't know. I don't really understand that, but, yeah, I would just sell based on what you think's going to happen, rather than where you actually entered the stock. Or are you talking about your average on what? So I can't follow all you guys because you're talking to each other. So if your average is 7, sell 8s and 9s. Average is 8, sell 9s and 10s. There's a big move, roll. Yeah, I mean, makes a lot of sense. Can't argue with you. Anyway, yeah, 45. But okay, charted travel. I agree with you, $1. But you think that represents 45 easy? 45x? I mean, what we'll have going for us is that the trajectory will be incredible, obviously, because in just 2 years we'll have gone from like 15 cents to $1, which is amazing. But I don't think they're going to give us that 45x multiple. I wish, I wish, but I don't think so. So, well, I'm curious to hear your thinking. How long are you? I'm very long. I'm long duck dong. No, yeah, if you've ever seen 16 Candles. No, I don't have any like hedge, if that's what you mean. I just full long. I have, 2026 options representing several 100,000 shares. Yeah, I have a lot of shares. Like, they're all long shares. So I don't know. I have options. I have a lot of shares. Try to just been basically selling cover calls whenever the stock's been flat-ish. Sometimes when the stock is not flattish. Sometimes, sometimes I just get impatient, sell a ton of calls anyway. Even if I think the stock might make a move. Sometimes I've been lucky and the stock's, been down. So, selling puts less frequently, but I'm just not a huge options trader, guys. I just really waiting for the stock. I think like some of you guys, I think if we see $1 in 2026, I'm going to be extremely happy and I'm going to get paid millions of dollars. So that's going to be wonderful. But guys, just remember realistic expectations. Like, to think that a stock's going to be 45 in 2 years, that's 7 right now, that was just 6 last week. I don't want to disillusion anybody, but that doesn't usually happen. That does not usually happen. Stocks usually stay flat, kind of dick around with you for years until your impatient ass takes your ball and goes home, and then market makers send it up after you took your ball and go home. Once your mom calls you in for supper. Anyway, rolling is not a problem. My genius friends, you can roll forwards. You can roll back. You can roll anything, but if you're wrong, you still lose money. You just don't lose that much if you're good. So it's like anything, any option. You're just betting on the direction, basically. And if you're constructing your trades intelligently, you're minimizing your risk. Your risk will be very low on your losers, and you'll make more on your winners, and your winners will be much more frequent. So it's just the options game you guys are talking about. It's a low-risk game. It's not sort of these sexy home runs you see on like online where people make these huge bullish bets like buying calls, and then because usually on those you end up getting wiped out. You end up going to zero. And it's really cool when it hits. It's like a lottery ticket. But you're much better off selling the options, taking the slow, steady profit, like the Birdies, like the Savages, like Uncle Bruce, like so many of these smart guys on YouTube, Uncle Henry. There's just a million people that, TJ, the Wheel. There's a million people that do the Wheel, the poor man's cover calls. There's a lot of strategies that sort of center around like selling an option. And then you'll sell several options, or you'll buy and sell, and you'll just basically construct a trade where you're very, very likely to make a good profit, and you're much less likely to make a small loss. So that's the whole goal. It seems super complicated, but it's really not. You just have to learn it and apply it and be very, very disciplined. Because the thing about trading these option strategies is they rely on probabilities. But if you're sort of injecting your opinions and emotions and you're not sticking to the math, then you're going to be in trouble. Just have to remember, work your strategies. Stay consistent. That's how you'll make money. It's not jumping in and out, letting emotion come in, all that fun stuff. So anyway, guys, it's good. If you're selling options, you're probably doing well because, like I said, those trades, you're going to win 80% of the time. And that's what it is, guys. It's base hits. Home run cut looks great, but 9 out of 10 times you're going to whiff and miss the ball by 3 or 4 inches. You keep your head down, keep your eye on the ball, take a nice compact cut. You'll hit a single. Maybe sometimes you'll hit a double. Maybe sometimes you'll just make just the right contact and hit that home run. But the point is, mitigate your risk, money management, don't get carried away. That's really true in anything, guys. I'm sort of rambling. I don't really know what I'm talking about. But what else is new? Guys, it's the Sofi stock. It's the Affirm stock. It's the Nvidia stock. Nvidia, great ER, sells off. Affirm, great ER, spikes. Sofi, I think solid ER. Market says and sells off. So it is what it is, guys. The Sofi stock, it's sort of a love-hate thing because if you're selling options, you're doing well, you're making money this whole time, no big deal. I think you can kind of tell who's a little bit more content, a little bit less content, because the people that are always saying like, why? Like, you're not selling calls. Otherwise you wouldn't be upset because you just be, you making plenty. There's plenty of money to be made, guys. You just have to think like a market maker, unlock it. Don't be upset if your stock is flat. Okay, the stock fell down to 620 last April? April 2022, so almost 2.5 years, things been basically flat. And you could have made a ton of money if you wanted to. But it just takes a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of education, a little bit of effort. It doesn't take that much time, honestly, to sell calls and stuff like that. So these strategies are all automated for you. Of course, you know that if you're on Robinhood or Thinkorswim or any of these Webull, any of these big, sort of modern day free trading sites. But it's all in good fun. Hope everybody has a wonderful night. I appreciate you guys watching, you brave souls that are here. This was supposed to be a 20-minute video. Of course, it's 55 minutes, but I was talking too much to Savage of Wall Street about his brilliant options strategies. Let's see, even 70%. Yeah, I mean, you're up making 70% in a year. You're doing very, very well. I mean, if you guys watch that guy, Felix, who teaches these options courses, of course, a million people do. That's what you're talking about. You should be able to make 100% gains in a year. I mean, fairly consistently if you're selling options all the time. You're going to make money, a lot of money. It's just... That's what market makers do. That's why they, people look at the profits at Goldman Sachs. They're like, Goldman Sachs probably made some bad bond bets, different things. How are they making so much damn money? It's these types of strategies, guys. These are not only they're underwriting the market, they're making the market, but they're just taking a ton of money, I believe, from retail investors. But, Goldman likes SoFi. I like SoFi. So hopefully our interests are aligned to some degree. But, yeah, I tend to do both. I mean, I'm definitely a net seller of options, but I'm just not a huge options guy. I would just consider myself more of a SoFi long. Leave the options to the folks who are really a little bit younger, a little bit more engaged, a little bit more on the computers, a little bit more on the interwebs. Anyway, guys, what's up, Jose? How's it going? Yeah, that's for sure. That's consistency and discipline are the keys to any type of trade, That's good advice, whether you're doing options or you're just, buying and selling stocks in general. It's really not that hard, guys. It's not hard to make money. You just have to stop being a big Karen. Get out of your own way. So anyway, let's see, guys. Hope everybody has a great night, and I'll talk at you again real soon. It's Un Poco Moss. It's Danny Deals. It's Stock Karen. I want to thank Bertie Avilés. Want to thank... Not a lurker, and want to thank Princess J for listening to this turd. Patience. Thank you, guys. Hope everybody has a wonderful night. Wunderbra. What's good, Aaron? Hope everybody's doing good. You caught the very end of the broadcast. Don't be a paper-handed weenie, baby. I can't help it, Savage. I am what I am. Have a great night, guy. Bye-bye.